Eman Rush Audio presents Eman The Verb, a lecture by Muhammad Alshareef.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala, amma ba'd. First of all, I know in the introduction he said that someone who's well known to all of you, which is not necessarily true. I haven't paid too many visits to the Masjid al-Rahmah community, and I feel bad about that. There's a masjid in California that I've been to more than I've been to the Masjid al-Rahmah community. And I apologize for that, inshallah, and I hope in the future that we can do activities together more, and inshallah, I'd be willing to do more lectures here, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, to begin, inshallah, I'm going to be speaking for half an hour, so you don't have to worry about the food. You'll get it, inshallah, within half an hour, inshallah ta'ala. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to give me the answer. Okay, here's the question. The question goes, your scale is heavy on the Day of Judgment. All right, that's the statement. Your scale is heavy on the Day of Judgment. The question now is, where will you be, in paradise or hellfire? Who thinks they'll be in paradise? Just hold on. Hands up. Who thinks they're going to be in paradise? Okay, your scale is heavy on the Day of Judgment. You're coming with a heavy scale. Are you in paradise? Raise your hands. Okay, I see just a few people hands up. All right, your scale is heavy on the Day of Judgment. Will you be in hellfire? Raise your hands if you think hellfire. Undecided? That's why you need to go to the Al-Maghrib Institute classes, inshallah, so you at least know the answers to these things. Okay. In our upbringing in North America, when we think like that, our scale is heavy, we automatically think that the person's going to hellfire. Automatically. You come with your back heavy. What we're thinking in our mind psychologically is sins. Is sin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, فَأَمَّا مَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ. This is the person whose scale is heavy. فَهُوَ فِي عِيشَةٍ رَاضِيَةٍ. That he's in an abode and a life that is pleased to him. Where is he? He's in Jannah. The correct answers for those who hesitated was paradise. You come with your scale heavy on the Day of Judgment. What your scale was heavy with was good deeds. In our lives growing up in North America, you'll always see when a sheikh comes and people ask questions, they'll ask about McDonald's food, they'll ask about this and that, and they always hear haram, 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 haram. And actually I have a theory about this. People usually only ask about things that are haram, because they know it in their hearts. No one asks about, can I eat bananas? And the sheikh says, oh, that's halal. They don't say that because everybody knows what halal is, but they only ask about the haram things. So the person thinks like this. They go through their lives thinking about all the haram things. So they say, as long as I'm not as bad as the kuffar, then I'm going to paradise. Which is not necessarily true. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in verse after verse, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. You know the surah, Surah Al-Asr, and there are many surahs that have the same, similar meaning, the similar wording. وَالْعَصْرِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testifying by the time. And I think even when we began this lecture, I said half an hour, and you're thinking about time. And as that time passes by, what's happening? إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. You're becoming a loser as the time passes. You're at a loss. And by default, if you are a human being, you are a loser. And everybody's like, don't say those things, those are bad words. By default, if you're a human being, you are a loser. And this happens in anything in your dunya. Anything in a person's dunya, if you take courses at the university and you aim for nothing, by default you're a loser if you don't do anything. You will fail the exam, you would have lost your money. Go to your job and try doing nothing. and you will be fired by the end of the day. By default, you're a loser. Similarly, in your akhirah, you as a human, if you do nothing in your deen, you're a loser. And you're at loss, but not every human is at a loss. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that there's an exception to that rule. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, except those who believe and do good deeds. And you notice here the verse, of course it's part of it, but the verse didn't say, and abstain from bad deeds. It didn't say, except those who believe and abstain from bad deeds. Of course that's part of it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, those who believed and did the verb, they actually did something with their iman. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا. The word tawasaw is to encourage others. Have you ever encouraged someone of the truth? Have you ever taught the truth to someone? Because this is your way of not being a loser. Have you ever encouraged patience and taught patience and spread patience amongst your community? This is the way to not be a loser. If you look back at your Sunday schools, and even for those who came from overseas, I'm sure you went to, I think they're called the Islamic studies classes that you have. What are they called? Ta'limat or something? Islamiyat, that's what it is. People have gone through Islamiyat classes back home. Here we've gone through Sunday schools. That knowledge, whether you took alif, ba, ta, tha, you may have made it to page 10 of the qa'idah. And the Islamiyat, you may have made it up to a certain book. But if you look back at your life, for many of us, that education just stopped. We came to a certain area, a certain point, and we just said, I've learned enough for my deen. And so the people divided after that into 3 groups. And these are the Muslims. You have one group of people that do not practice their deen. They may have learned those things, maybe not, but they're not part of their deen. They may be going to the clubs. They may be acting, if you saw them, you couldn't distinguish between them and a non-Muslim. And we know there are many have fallen like this. And I tell you, we're only in 2nd generation for many of us, North America, and we're already losing our youth in the 2nd generation, and we still are hoping for 3rd and 4th and 5th, but we're already losing at this stage. That's the first group. The second group is people that are upright in their deen. But that uprightness doesn't extend to anyone else. They will come to the masjid, they will pray salah, maybe even fajr and isha in the masjid, and they will read Quran, but their own children won't come to the masjid. And we know examples of that. The father is the best, or the mother is the best, and everybody knows that their children are lost. And then when they're asked about something like that, they'll say it's their life. They have to make the decisions themselves. No, we're responsible for them. And on the Day of Judgment, we will be asked. We will be asked, did we do everything that we could to protect them? So that second group is upright, but they're doing nothing with their deen. Basically, they took their deen, put it like in a box, and sat on it. And they're living their lives inside that box. The third group, and this is a group that we're hoping for, is the group that not only takes their deen and practices it themselves, but they teach it and encourage other people. They're alive in their Islam. And they're bringing khair and benefit. You'll see Imam Malik rahimahullah, one student, it was at Fajr time, the adhan for Fajr went, it may have been another salah, and the student left the class to go pray some sunnah prayers. And Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala told him to sit down. And he said, because these sunnah prayers that you're about to pray are specific for yourself. You will get the benefit yourself. However, this knowledge that you are going to learn is something that will benefit you and it will benefit other people. So sit down and learn. And they were always keeping that in mind. How can I help other Muslims from benefiting?